Welcome back. Hello, valiant day knights. See, I'm starting to use your name now. Glorious, valiant, tried and true day knights. It's time for the daily. We were just looking at Major, doing some goody goodness, doing some containedness, both directly by roasting things in the front and indirectly by doing these counterattacks. And now that he's in this position, kind of similar to what we had before, but of course ever different given the distances between these bases and the openness. So what is a Major to do? Oh, sorry, I had that period. I don't know if you ever had that where your body starts to yawn and you can't yawn, so you're just like... Oh, it's like still not there. Ah. Alright, whatever. So, these poor Hellbats did not quite do their job, but per usual, once we have abdicated map control, and Ryung, like any correct Marine Maraudering player, he should begin getting a little aggressive. Now, these drops can do one of two things. In the other game, we clearly saw that a drop like this was intended to exploit how far forward these things were. And then we saw another drop that came in that was clearly used as a launching pad to move out and set up. Right now, we don't quite know where his army is, but we know that this drop will do one of those two things. And it's important that we can identify which one rather quickly. So the Hellbat drops move in. Boom. Causing some run around him. And what do you know? Ugh. It's causing all the pull backage, which could permit Major to move forward and make a big play. I'm not saying it necessitates it, but we could, at this point in time, do somewhat of a move out. And so he does. I think this is slightly later than it could have been, because already we'll see Ryung moving quite a ways forward. Even something for Major, like moving from here, and then slowly working his way up to this side. Why this side? Because we have a spotter here, and we have a spotter sensor tower here. Or even just beginning to make the move forward. Would be très excellent. Because here's the spot that we don't quite want to be in. That fortunately, for educational purposes, does happen. Here's the spot that most mech players will struggle when going up against a bioforce. What do we do now? What do we do now? Certainly, this look is pretty standard. 5 factories, 3 with tech labs, 2 with reactors. And we have a starport, alternatingly making Vikings, but most of the time medevacs. So for one, I will note, now that we're done with all this production stuffs, we stop muling so much. You can actually stop muling almost entirely once you have 16 workers mining at each base. Stop the damn muling and begin the damn engaging with the scans. Let's actually look at this in slow motion. So, Major. He sees the force moving out. Ryung's doing the smart thing. He's closing out as much vision as humanly possible. And these are all the moments that we look to try to exploit. We have way more tanks. We wait till we can get in a spot where we can siege up. This is just an unreal good fight. Thanks to the point defense drones, we almost always get the best first engagement. That one single Banshee of ours with Cloak, doing some serious work. This Banshee with Cloak is a legend, man. And of course, a Hellbat drop, doing the same logic that we talked about before. If he is far on our side and we see it, we can just swing around with a Hellbat drop to the backside. So, alright, Major. scans a seemingly random location on the map. Here's how not having map control works. Our mech army is amazing in direct engagements. We just need to siege up in time. This force of Vikings is going to lead everything to see where we are nearby. The thing that sucks for mech is when they get hit unsieged. Great, we already took care of that. And also when we get counterattacked. So just simple coverage. Yeah, we'll suffer a counterattack if his whole army happens to be there, but that's unlikely. We have this SCV patrolling. I mean, whatever you want to do that sort of stuff. I mean, you might have, hell, a Hellion from the early game or a Widowmine to spot that. Anything's good. Now as we're starting to get closer, Major scans. He sees an army. If I saw nothing right now, I would throw out another scan here. And if I threw out another scan and I saw this attack, well, these Hellbats are probably going to trundle forward and pick this off, or maybe the Vikings are going to stay and pick this off, but everything else is going to have to do some coming on back. But great, we did a scan and we spotted everything that was up. Yeah. All the other things have to be so careful when moving out. Things like this medevac drop can be like super deadly. And thus we have the standard engagements, you know, siege up where you can, etc. Pulling over to these far sides works really nicely. In ways, it can be a real pain in the ass because we are leaving ourselves completely open to just them walking into our base. So we have to be rather careful. That's why Major is rallied into his natural expansion. But attacking from these extreme angles become very difficult for anyone to engage who's going Marine Marauder. If you're trying to push, say, let's say through this choke area, you can get hit from above, you can get hit from the right, you can even have units over here and flank in from behind. This angle is really tough. It's even hard for him to do a flank from behind because his units have to hook down and right so far. And more good playing. With every push, and with Mech, there comes an expand. Yeah. But yeah, Ez is pretty, as we saw last time. You sprint your army to where you siege up, and then you just stay sieged up and never unsiege. And as a result, we see Major building up a secondary force, where he is basically forever pulled back. Because what happens if there is a counterattack? Well, cool. That's why we have all these tanks. To emphasize, I'll say literally the same thing I just said. We don't ever really want to have our tanks unsiege that much anymore because our army is slowly getting split up. We can't bring these reinforcements all the way here, so it's suicide to unsiege them. So doing something simple like this is excellent. More positional awesomeness. Let's say for a moment that just this high ground area could be dropped on. We drop on there and we actually can't hit this orbital command. That's still great. We've denied the mining. I mean, Ryung is mining gas from this, but we're more than happy to let Ryung get a ton of gas. We're the meching player. We're the ones that really need the gas. We further see these preparations that Major did, getting the sensor tower up, getting the planetary fortress here. We are really truly seeing why those are so important because, hell, if we get cut in half and there's a move down here, it's very hard for a Marine Maraudering player to kill off two of these planetaries. Excuse me, two command centers. And this is just a nice judgment call from Major where he's like, yup, I can definitely kill that. Some reinforcements. Screw his day up, but it's cool. He's getting up another expansion. Continuing to have to play defensively. So we're starting to see these scans continue to go down. We don't need scans, remember, with this leading force. We can always just look. Oh, actually, I went through that way too fast. Woo! Alright, pulling back here. Yeah, we just did some nice defense over here. And we don't need to scan so much. With these forces, we can just look. and be like, oh, there's like not that much stuff there. And we now see the edge that we gain from these nice medevac drops, picking off siege tanks, which allows us to close in a little bit more tightly with these siege tanks. To do the Anaconda strangling just a little bit more tightly. So I think it's pretty obvious that, you know, our opponent could begin taking this other expansion, so that ends up being the next place that Major scans. This is kind of an awkward position to be in with all these forces. How do you possibly retreat with all these dudes? And you really don't. If you have somehow enough medevacs, you can just like cut here, hard pull back along the right flank, and then rejoin. But basically, these forces will slowly dwindle as the Marine Maraudering player will, you know, potentially try to continue engaging it. And the other chance is, if in this position, just before this engagement began, let's say we had all these forces here. And then let's say we saw some red dots here and we scanned and saw a huge force here. That is an opportunity to pull back. So I'm going to come back to right before this push began and just show an example of this happening. So here comes the push. There's the scans along the right flank, or along the left flank. Scan more along the left flank, moving far along this hard side. And when did it happen? Yeah, right here. This is a perfectly acceptable time. If for some reason we'd already done the damage that we wanted to deal here, this is a perfectly acceptable time to begin retreating, because we see where his army is. This is most often where you'll see retreats. And if you're watching in Pro League and stuff, in WCS, you see a retreat happen right now, and it looks a lot like an emergency play. It looks a lot like Major's going, oh my god, crap, I have to get back and get my defense up. But honestly, it's because he knows the whole army's here. He has a safe retreat path. And that's one thing that's like really hard to guarantee, because like in a spot like this, where you don't know where the army is, you don't know how big it is. In fact, a lot of the army is here. If this unsieged and tried to retreat, it would be mincemeat. So you have all these sort of trapped up here. Either the, you know, Marine Maraudering player takes bad engagements like this, or he patiently waits to cut you off. In either circumstance, we got to keep scanning there to make sure. Why is this move out safe? By the same logic why we talked about a retreat earlier being safe, we know where the enemy army is. We know for a fact where the enemy army is. It should be right about here, in this general area. Oh, actually, this is not any terrain. I was actually looking at the mini-map. Yeah, and we see the army located aptly right there. So Major's able to just get an easy engagement here. Okay, now we have the issue where we're unsure about our retreat path being safe. A little bit of a bold play to pull all the way back there, but once he hits the watchtower, sweet. So this is covering our left flank. What's making sure we don't run headlong into a bunch of stuff? Well, the Vikings are. And there they do, let us see enough in time to be able to engage. And then we see the exact same play that Major did before, moving along this side, except he now has the fortune of this vision control. And is moving super cautiously. Super cautiously. So, you know, the main rule of Mech vs. Bio is to do little hellbat drops to get him out of position. When you're moving out, be very aware of what the possible angles are. You can use Vikings to spot for your army moving along one flank and scans. In seemingly arbitrary locations, you can spot the other flank. This push is actually really dangerous for Major right now. It's like 3 tanks. So yeah, of course it's going to get picked off down there. I don't know how this worked at the very end, that last pair of 3. Ryung could have very well picked that off, but that's fine. Major's doing the same thing, reclustering. Has hardly anything here because it's still not safe to move out until you have a lot of stuff. And they continue to re-rally back home to protect. Blobbity, blobbity, blob. Bam! Let's take questions. Yeah! Rogue Legacy going on tomorrow. And a little bit of the Swapper. I'm so tired. It's just day nights is how it's spelled. Day nights. Maybe day nights with the... That looks stupid. There we go. Day nights. Nah, I like just regular I. You can't have both the I and the 9 in there. Maybe K9 GHTS. Day nights. What are the cans on this top to the shelf to the right? Is a collection of various energy drinks from around the world. Oh, that's pretty good. Alright, look, Day Nights is officially your name, but I don't know how it's spelled. Maybe just D-A-Y, bracket 9N bracket, Day Nights. D-A-Y, bracket 9N bracket, T-S. Day Nights. Uh-oh. Banned. Kyle Kinsella got banned. I am Slicey. God, I'm banning him so fast. There's these people that always spam links that look like porn but are actually viruses. It's like the worst kind of spam. Lock Backlash asked what my thesis was about. It was about if you have Pascal's triangle. It's like a really cool structure. So like if you go to the nth row and you look at the kth item in that row, that is the number of ways to choose k things from a set of n. So if you sum across that row, it is the total number of ways to select some number of things from a collection, aka 2 to the n. So Pascal's already fucking kick ass. Pascal's triangle is already really cool. So my thesis was about what if you take the determinant of Pascal's triangle, what do you get? And amazingly, when you do that, the sum of each row is the nth Catalan number. What? So that was what I was exploring. Sornier asked me if I bite my nails. Yes. Angry Onion says, Day 9, what is the silliest, most horrible strategy that probably wouldn't work in SC2 but we kick ass if it did? I got it already. If you could kill Overseer so fast that you could go like DT Phoenix. Ain't Funny asks what my favorite programming language is. I don't know, maybe I'll just suck and be like C++. It's great. You can do a lot. I like JavaScript too. Uh-oh, ban. Who's getting banned? Oh, God, mod's already banned, and that was amazing. Alright, let's take one more. Take this question from Mahi Streams the Vidya. What's my favorite Magic the Gathering format? Draft, baby! Ooh! Triple new Phyrexia drafts. I'm going to bed. I'm actually just gonna go to sleep like right now. I don't care, man. Actually, maybe I should eat food. I'm gonna sleep. Take care, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Doing day 9's day off. Let's just look at this sloth while we go out. Peace.